Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. An article published by The Telegraph in the United Kingdom has argued that Elaine Thomspon-Herah's run of 10.54 seconds might be the greatest sprint of all time, even better than Usain Bolt's men's 100-meter world record of 9.58 seconds. We have our Tokyo 2020 analyst to pick up on this debate, Leighton Levy, who is almost a co-host with his many appearances on the SportsMax Zone. And of course, we're hoping to be joined by the man who has divided opinions during our Olympic coverage, Anil Roberts. Leighton, welcome.
Hi guys, how are you doing? And you're right, you need to start treating me like I'm a host now.
All right, so we made it official live on the SportsMax Zone on the second day of our new look. So Leighton is one of our honorary hosts. Leighton, is there merit in the argument? Of course, written in the Telegraph article.
Listen, if I had written that, I literally could have written that word for word, because I agree. I think when you consider the context of the performances that 10.54 and of course the 10.61 in Tokyo, given the quality of the field she was aligned against, and of course given the occasion of each race, I think her 10.54 does match. I don't think it exceeds Bolt's 10.58, but I think it certainly matches it in terms of purely in terms of performance. Because when you look at where she brought that performance and what she did in doing so, first of all, as you know, I've never been a fan of that 10.49 world record. I think that's a world record that has a huge asterisk and a ton of clouds over it. So for me, this is officially the world record, well, unofficially certainly, the world record for the women's 100 meters. And when you look at the field that she lined up against, perhaps the fastest woman on the planet, certainly on paper, because Sha'Carri Richardson didn't bring her best performance in that race, but certainly Shelley and Fraser-Pryce, Shericka Jackson, two of the three fastest women in the world this year, alongside Elaine Thomspon-Herah. The performance certainly matched.
Thank you, and good evening to all of viewers and listeners of Cincinnati and the Caribbean. Now, let me first of all say, I am not one to be comparing women against men. We must compare life and life. We're talking sprinting, which is an anaerobic capacity and an activity that requires all of speed and brilliance. The difference, the supreme being made, men and women, there are differences, but we all believe in equality of treatment, equality of pay, equality of attention, media attention, and so on.
Anil?
There are differences in the physiological.
I don't want to cut you, but we are having some audio difficulties, and I know our viewers would love to hear, so we're going to try to sort that out and connect back with you. All right, so Leighton, do we still have Leighton with us, Lance?
Yeah, man, I'm still here.
All right, Leighton, I know you're also looking forward to hearing from Anil, and we're going to try
to
connect with him again. So, okay, so it brings us to the next question, right? So you said that you found that there were merit in the article, and of course you would have written the article word for word the same way. Elaine, though, also in the article, they spoke about her, being awarded the merit that Flojo was given, and of course just erasing Flojo's record. Where do you stand on that part of the article? Would you have written that too?
Yeah, I think Flojo's record should have been stricken off the books from 1988. Look, unless you're blind and you're American steeped in this false patriotism that they like to call, their patriotism. The fact is that the wind issue, we're not even talking about anything else except the issue of wind at that meet. When the triple jump, if you can go back in history, if you can find the videos, you will see the wind at the triple jump pit. And the wind was somewhere between 4 and 7 meters per second. So how is it 5 meters to the right of the pit, or to the left of the pit, depending on where you're looking at it from? How does then do you justify the wind being 0.00? There's a video of it where you hear the commentator saying, and I remember it from watching it live on the day when it happened, when he said 10.49, but it's going to be wind aided. Everybody in the world who has any objective view on that race knows that record is faulty no end. And it should be stricken from the books. And it's embarrassing to World Athletics that record still stands. So for me and for many, and you heard the commentator say it at the Diamond League meet last weekend. But for many, the 10:54 is the unofficial world record because Elaine Thompson is the only woman to have run 0.9 meters per second, which matches Bolt's 10.58 in Berlin, I believe it was. If this wind was about 1.7 in Oregon last weekend, somewhere between 1.5 1.7, Elaine Thompson-Herah may well have gone under 10.5 seconds. That then, what I think would make it more equal because of the improved surface on which she's running, and then comparing it to the time that Bolt ran on a track 12 years ago. Because the innovation, the technology has improved, and you have to take that into consideration as well.
Yeah. Part of the article has actually suggested as well, Leighton, that because 117 women have dipped below the 11-second mark and 156 men have gone below the 10-second mark, is a suggestion from their standpoint that it's been easier for men to break 10 seconds or more men to break 10 seconds than women to break 11.
Yeah, but why that point doesn't resonate heavily with me is that men are naturally stronger. It's a given. Men are physically stronger than women. So it stands to reason that more men would have been able to accomplish breaking the 10-second barrier than more women breaking the 11-second barrier. I think that's probably the only non-point there in that conversation that of the writer in the Telegraph.
Yeah, we got some responses from some people on social media, and there seems to be a very stark reality that a lot of people aren't entertaining in any shape or form an Elaine Thompson performance surpassing a Usain Bolt performance. But public opinion sometimes has a mind of its own.
Yeah, and that too has to do with the impact that Bolt has had globally as an athlete.
Yes.
And the things that he did at the time when he did them were completely otherworldly. And not to say that Elaine Thompson's time in Oregon last week wasn't. It's just that Bolt has transcended the sport to a level now where he's he's an icon in sports. And so people are unwilling. Yeah. Oh yeah, you could use that term, demigod-like. I mean, he's held in such high esteem that it's hard for people to accept that somebody could actually match his performances.
Yeah, I think we have Anil now, but he's on the telephone because our initial Zoom link-up didn't work that well. Anil, we welcome you back to the discussion. Can you continue the point you were making earlier on with this comparison between Elaine's 10:54 and Bolt's 9:58?
Thank you. Whoever started the discussion is clueless about sport. You cannot compare apples with oranges. Men and women are physiologically different, and for them to even consider and accept without scientific data that needs to be very specific that an 11-second barrier equates to a 10-second barrier is ludicrous from the onset. So whoever concocted this comparison is either mischievous or misguided. Men are created by the Supreme Being differently from women. While we believe in equality in sport, equality in jobs, and equality in treatment, and equality in pay, equality in media attention, men and women are designed differently. Men have a greater anaerobic capacity. That means that they have a greater capacity for speed, power, jumping higher, jumping further, and so on, because of their testes and their production of testosterone. So, to try to compare through some arbitrary measure, a comparison of Usain Bolt, the greatest athlete in the history of all sport, bar none, and Elaine Thompson, who is the greatest female sprinter of all time based on her double-double and her continued performance, is wasting time and does not even deserve a discussion. You would not sleep as much. They will celebrate, they will laugh, they will listen to music, they will do things that are not absolutely perfect for their performance. For her to go to Oregon, travel across time zones, and to run 10:54 in itself shows that her coach is brilliant. He got the peaking of his athlete absolutely perfect in a zone that we like to say there's a 3-week zone where when you hit a taper correctly, you can swim or run brilliantly based on, one, your aerobic component of the makeup. Remember, all your energy systems work all the time. You can't separate separate one. Because you're sprinting does not mean your cardiovascular system is not operating. All it means is that in a 100-meter sprint, you are utilizing most of your energy from your anaerobic system, your ATP system, for that period. So paradigm of sprinting. Never was it believed before that a tall man like that could get down into a crouch position, get out of a block, get up and stand tall within 100 meters, get the top speed, and generate a sprinting time that could be so fast. Usain Bolt changed the paradigm, and by 2032 Olympics, we will see a lot of 6'5", 6'2" sprinters, where before we used to look for the 5'5", 5'6", shorter, powerful rocket guys.
I remember, Anil, in the 1970s, there was this tall American by the name of Steve Williams who would race against Donald Quarry and Hasely Crawford and so on. There was a short American, Houston McTeer, and Steve Williams would have to wait for the 200 because at his height, I think he was probably 6'3", 6'4", he just couldn't get out of the blocks quickly enough to challenge the shorter men going the short sprint.
Absolutely correct, and you saw that with the Jamaican Wint also in 1948. But in the 400, he came along in the last 80 meters to run past Herb McKinley and the rest of the field. However, Usain Bolt, the training practices, the abdominal work, the core work, the coordination, the music, the cross-training has created a position that men who are taller can sprint. And once you get up and you have big wheels like Usain Bolt, and you have the coordination, the fast twitch, and the ability to turn over, your stride length and your stride rate will equate to speeds that can never be attained by anyone shorter than him. He is a phenomenon, and we will keep analyzing his brilliance for decades to come. So to compare Usain Bolt and Elaine Thompson, it's unnecessary, it's mischievous, and it's not scientifically based.
All right, Leighton, leave it. Well, Anil Roberts doesn't agree with the article. You concur with a lot of what is in the article. Any rebuttal to Anil's points?
Yeah, Anil makes a good point, but in the context of performance, look, in terms of if you're going to match them up race for race, right? Obviously, both performance is going to be superior, given what Anil just explained. But in terms, my argument was that in terms of what women are able to accomplish over the 100 meters, comparatively speaking, it is in, at least in my mind, an equal performance to both, given that both is already a superior physical specimen to any female sprinter. So we're keeping the sector of women just within the context of women's performance. I think it matches that as both among men. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what Anil is saying, but in terms of the pure performance itself, that's where my mind is.
So Anil, is that a more palatable way to put it for you, that in the context of a women's performance, the rating that you would give Elaine Thompson's 10:54 would be a similar rating to on the men's side what Bolt was able to do with his 9:58?
Well, you can't, because if you are stating and accepting that Flojo's record was clean and we have accepted it and it's the world record.
But Leighton doesn't. Leighton doesn't.
Okay.
And the article doesn't either.
Well, okay, but you see, if we can state what we feel, but bearing without actual facts and coming from a legal family, being in the belly of a lawyer and put in there by another lawyer, I would have to err on what is there, because while I may agree in my heart and soul and my feeling and my knowledge, we must accept what is the world record. So if you are making this sort of comparison that Mr. Bloom would like to make, then just on pure information, Usain Bolt's run is a world record and Elaine's is not. I don't agree with the comparison at all anyway. So let's just enjoy the greatness that we are seeing of Elaine Thompson-Herah without trying to cloud it with non-issues and non-discussion.
So if Elaine runs 10:48 the next time she hits the track and breaks Flojo's world record, would you look at this any differently?
No, I would just look at Elaine as being greater and a legend in her own right, because I'm not comparing women against men. I'm not comparing the 11-second barrier with the 10-second barrier, because there's not enough science done to say that those are equivalent.
Yes.
In science, you must be exact. You can't just feel or guess.
Yes. All right. Well, we've got to leave it there, Leighton and Anil. But I think, Anil, what Leighton was saying, that if you were going to mark Elaine's performance out of 100, let's say you give her 99%, then Bo gets 99% for his effort as well, and that is where the equality that Leighton is speaking of. But clearly you don't agree, so.
On that equality, I will give them both 100.
Okay.
Because they're both absolutely brilliant, and a coach cannot be unhappy with anything that they've done. So they both get 100. So that comparison, I in that one.
Anil Roberts, Levy, thanks for talking to us on the SportsMax Zone. Back with more on the show after this.